Okay, I'm going to go over the judges, just the judges in Shasta County that are aware of this case and have been involved in this case for the past 7 years. Okay, just to get a grasp on why a lot of the people in our community would lie about this case, as well as why they would try to cover it up, and also in their minds in Shasta County, uh, it's a huge risk. It wouldn't be. It's a huge. It's not in their best interest. Okay, it wouldn't be in their best interest for me to be right, or to prove them right, or to even have somebody else arrested, and me be able to prove in court, or prosecute somebody else in this case, like including Kendra and Jason, because of how many people are involved in this case. Okay, I'm just going to go over the judges. Okay, when we first got here, it was Judge Daryl Kennedy. Okay, he was the first judge that we had in family court. The first judge I had in criminal court, because both of these cases tie together. I was arrested based on a domestic violence restraining order that was filed in Shasta County, and that paperwork was forged. It was actually changed. The pages were changed out, and it was backdated, and so it was backdated 2 days before the paperwork that I filed in Sacramento County. Okay, that was Judge Flynn in criminal court. Okay, so Judge Flynn and Judge Kennedy in the very beginning. Judge Gibson, Judge Gary G. Gibson, was the one that granted Kendra a restraining order against me. Okay, in October of 2016. All right. The reason why that's such a big deal in this case, especially, but in general in law, right, is that when you file a restraining order, you typically file it in the county that you're from or you live in. Now, you could leave like your county especially if you're in fear of your life. You can leave and you can go file in another county a restraining order if you feel like that person's going to chase you or to come after you. And that's totally fine, right? Like typically it would be if you were just going out or dating or boyfriend and girlfriend. If you have kids and you're married, then things kind of get complicated and they get a little bit more difficult. When you file custody and child support, as well as basically anything else that you would file in a divorce or separation, you typically 99.9% of the time file that in the county that you live in, Sacramento County. That's where we lived. Okay. And the reason why she didn't file in Sacramento County was because she left Sacramento. This was like the second or third time that she left, and she took the kids. Okay. So she took my kids in September, and then at the end of September, and then the beginning of October. Okay. And if you notice, there's been 3 different times that Kendra's left, and that I just mentioned, right? And I have evidence of that. I can support that with her phone records during that time, right? None of those times did Kendra file a police report or a restraining order against me. Not even a complaint, okay? The end of September, she came up here and stayed with her mom for a few days and then went back to Sacramento. The kids had missed almost like 2 weeks of school by the time that Kendra had left again. Okay, so the school now was already worried about what our kids and what was going on, and I'll just move into the judges. Okay, I'll explain more of that in a different video. So Judge Gary G. Gibson grants Kendra Snyder a restraining order. Judge Daryl Kennedy grants her the permanent restraining order on a court date on the 31st, right? 10/31/16. That's the permanent order. Okay. When you look at a temporary restraining order, even though it's by law, it's in effect, and look at the bottom of it, it'll say not a court order. That's important. Okay. Doesn't mean it's not a legal document. It just means that it's not a permanent court order yet, right? There's still a hearing coming up. And so they don't really know if you're telling the truth or if if what's going to happen, right? So they give you a hearing. Okay, so Kendra's hearing up here in Shasta County was the 31st. Okay, I remember very well, very vividly. Okay, so then we go into when I moved up here, and so when I filed paperwork in Sacramento County, we went to court dates down there. Okay, we had several court dates. The Sacramento County judge was there's only one judge. His name was Judge McBride. Okay, and Kendra Snyder didn't show up for court. Okay, and that was a big deal. It was a huge deal for Sacramento County as well as me, right? The reason why I would want to keep it in the jurisdiction or in Sacramento County is number one, the best interest of our kids, right? Like we live there, they go to school there, like everything that they've known their whole entire lives up until that point is in Sacramento County. All three kids were born in Sacramento. Imagine that, being 8 years old, like 8 years old, 8, 6, and 4, right? And you grow up and live every day in the house with your dad and your mom, and then you have all your family that live in Sacramento, right? And your school, and they went to school from kindergarten, all three of them, the same kindergarten, like a pre-K, at a high school where the students got to kind of interact with the young kids, all the way up until second grade, third grade for my oldest son. Okay, imagine that time period, right? And then just being yanked and ripped out of that. Like that's the problem with this case, and it's been the problem from the very beginning. Okay, so those three judges right off the top, right? Those three for sure: Flynn, Darrell Kennedy, and Gibson. And I filed complaints with those judges with the Supreme Court justices, as well as the California, it's the Council of Judicial Performance. Okay, and I filed a complaint against these guys, and that's what you typically do in misconduct, is you file a complaint, and it's called an investigation into their misconduct. And I got thrown in jail, and I wasn't able to provide the counsel with the evidence that I had to support what I was saying about them and what was going on. And that investigation went on while I was in jail. And then when I got out, it was basically, they said they couldn't find any evidence of forgery, which makes sense because they're only looking at the case files that are here, right? Okay, so then we have Commissioner Stromberg. Commissioner Stromberg used to work at the Family Law Facilitator, right? And they bumped her up to judge, so her name's Commissioner Stromberg. A lot of people have had her for child support. She does child support now, but back when we had her, she was doing a little bit of everything, which I kind of feel like that should be the way. Like I don't think that they should be just like, where they have to do child support and then they have to do custody. I think it should be like one judge for an entire case. Okay, then you have Judge Jody Burgess. Judge Jody Burgess. Okay. Burgess. Then you have Judge Bigelow. She was the judge for the restraining order against Jason in 2020, as well as a couple of our court dates that she had that we had back in like 2019, 2020. Okay, then the other criminal judge that I had, I'll just put criminal right here, is Judge Adam Ryan. And then his wife, I don't know if she still works here, but his wife used to work for Family Law, and her name is Judge Summer Ryan. Okay. And then Kendra's used to get pulled over all the time. I'd say like at least once a month. And it was always traffic. And his name was Judge Berglund. Berglund, I think. Berglund. Okay. And Judge, I want to say, I think it's Judge Monique McKee, but I'll have to check my paperwork. But I'm pretty sure I got it right there. Monique McKee. She substituted for Ryan one day or 2 days while he was in a training or a conference or something like that, and she basically, just came and sat in for one day, and I had court that day, and I walked in the court and I sat down, and she goes, "Oh, you're Mr. Snyder then, huh?" Like that, and so I thought it was kind of funny, but um, so she's a part of it, like she's a part of these judges' decisions, no matter what. Like every judge that I just listed in this family law case and criminal cases against me have been involved in making these decisions. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11. I think there's like 13 judges in this county. I know there was another guy that we had like another just random court date with. That's the severity of the issue. Okay, like that's the significance of this case, hands down. Okay, it doesn't matter what Kendra says. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what the kids say. If you really think about it, ultimately, okay, if you really, really think about it, dude, that's 13 judges out of the Shasta County Superior Court, dude, that have been involved in this case and have made decisions based off of hopefully the law, right? I mean, the law should be number one. Number two is the best interest of children, right? The best interest of our children. And then the other, what I was going to say is like they made their decisions based off of what they were aware of at the time. Like at that moment, they were aware of this, and this is what they made the decision on, right? Which is important, right? But also the fact is that later on in the case, now we're talking 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. We're talking about 7 years, almost 8 years now, of this case going on in Shasta County. It's insane, okay? It should have been a normal custody case in the very beginning. I was not tripping out, dude, on Kendra leaving, okay? A matter of fact, I filed for divorce in Sacramento and custody myself because I was just done with it, okay? But not only that, is that because of all these people's involvement in this case, right? Not just these people, but I'm saying in general, everybody, right? It's turned into a nightmare, like a snowball effect, okay? And I've said from the very beginning, dude, from the very beginning of this case, I've said, stop lying. Stop lying about everything. Stop changing shit. Stop changing records. Stop lying for Kendra, defending her. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't help anything. It's not helping anybody. And the reason why I was saying that was because I was watching my kids just fucking, their world get torn apart the entire time. For 8 years, dude, I watched my kids, just their world be torn apart. In 2019, when my son was going to Sequoia, he would cry every morning, dude, because he didn't want to live in Shasta County anymore. He's like, why do I have to live here? Why do I have to stay here, Dad? Why am I forced to live here? My daughter cried her fucking eyes out for 2 hours, dude, because she didn't want to go to speech therapy. My youngest son, Jackson, dude, when he got his accident, when he had his accident and he was down in Shriners, he asked the nurse if he could move into Shriners, dude, and stay there because he didn't want to come back to Shasta. Like, that's how much this fucking county has affected my children. It's not the government. It's not the, I don't have a thing against judges. I don't have a thing against fucking lawyers. I don't have a thing against police officers. Dude, I have a thing against these fucking assholes because for number one, dude, I've spent 7 or 8 years with these people. Like, you have to understand, like, dude, in 2020, we went to court like over 60 times in a year. That's a lot of fucking time to spend with somebody, dude, and not only that, but know their case inside and out. But they have other things going on too. They have other cases going on. They have other, lives going on as well, right? And I did have that. Like, I used to have a life, right? Until they ripped my family apart because they were involved. And that's basically how it looks like right now. Like they've involved themselves with making decisions. Now, listen, okay, I'm not saying a bad decision or a good decision. I'm saying that they've involved themselves in our lives, making decisions for our family and our kids, right? And those decisions have gone from good intentions and maybe the best interest of the children to saving our own asses and trying to stay out of prison. You know, and I'm doing the same thing as well. I mean, honestly, these people have tried to put me in prison for 7 to 8 years. Like every time I turn around, dude. The last time I went to jail, okay, I just went to jail in 2022. Okay, I had so much evidence, overwhelming evidence of everything that I've been saying. Like I have a lot of it at home. I backed up a lot of it and gave it to friends and family to hold on to in case something ever happened to me. And I've sent it out, a lot of it to federal government agencies like law enforcement, FBI, and stuff like that, right? Because of, and then what's frustrating is that I actually talked to somebody from the federal, the FBI, right? And the guy was like, "That's a lot of people. Like that's a lot of people that have been involved, right?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "But not everybody has broken the law or like kidnapped my kids or hurt them, but they've just made made legal mistakes down the way, right? Like down the list, right?" And they got the FBI guy goes, "No, you don't understand. If a judge makes a decision like that, like if a judge makes a decision and they knew for a fact, dude, that the kids were abducted from Sacramento, or they knew for a fact that there was forged documents and signatures in the case file, right? Which I've been saying for 7 years. If they knew that, and somebody if you walked in the courtroom and you said there's forged documents in here, don't use it, right? And they went ahead and moved forward with the case. This is what the FBI guy said, right? He goes, and they went ahead and moved forward with it, or they made a decision after you told them that. He said, "That's prison for life." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm like, what do you mean?" He was like, "That when the judge breaks the law like that, when a judge commits a crime like that, right? Like when they break, it's the outrageous criminal activity, right? Like something so severe, like abduction or kidnapping, right? Think about it. My kids were kidnapped for 7 years and forced to stay in this county for 7 years. They've been chasing my kids around the past couple of years or so, trying to run away from their moms. They're trying to cover this all up, right? They're holding my kids hostage. Like that's the way you need to look at it. That's because that's the way the law works. And they're doing all those things because they don't want to go to prison for life. That's the bottom line. They don't want to go to prison for life, right? So you're asking yourself right now, maybe like, okay, Snyder, that sounds nuts, right? Prove it, right? Okay, I can prove every single thing I say. If I say it, I swear on my kids, on my life, dude, I can prove it. I wouldn't, in this case, at this particular time, especially, right, at this moment in time. Well, I'm not a dishonest person in general, right? I have a thing with lying, and I don't lie. Just a man of my word, okay? But the other reason is that at this point in time, at this juncture, right, anything that I say and is going to be under scrutiny, and they're going to try to disprove it, or they're going to try to cover it up, or try to change it, right? So I have to be ahead of that, okay? Like way ahead of that. So that's why I made sure that everything that I've been saying I have proof of. Hold on, buddy.